Sophia had always believed that love would conquer all. She was a woman in her mid-40 who had dedicated the best years of her life to a man named Adam, believing that their love could overcome any obstacle. It was a love story filled with hope, betrayal, and secrets that would shatter her world. Sophia and Adam had met in their early 30s, and from the very beginning, they knew they were meant for each other. It was a love that seemed destined, the kind that made you believe in soulmates. The only cloud in their otherwise sunny sky was their inability to have children. They'd tried everything, from countless doctor visits to every fertility treatment available, but still, the sound of a baby's laughter eluded them. That's when Dr. Mike entered the picture, a dedicated and compassionate fertility specialist. He had taken on Sophia's case as if it were his own. Sophia and Adam put their trust in him, believing that he was the one who could help them fulfill their dream of becoming parents. Sophia became pregnant with twins, and the news filled their hearts with uncontainable joy. The day the twins were born was the happiest day of Sophia's life. She couldn't have been more thankful to Dr. Mike for making her dreams come true. Her twins, a boy and a girl, were perfect in every way. They were her little miracles, and she couldn't imagine life without them. Little did she know that another woman named Jane existed, someone who had a secret life of her own with Adam. Jane was living abroad, and she was Adam's hidden lover. He had been leading a double life, sharing his love between two women, and Jane was the one who had given him the life he never had with Sophia. The perfect cover story for his frequent travels was his work, and Sophia, consumed by her love for him, never suspected a thing. 9 years passed since the birth of the twins. Sophia had no idea about Adam's betrayal, and she was content in her love for her family. She had watched her children grow, and they were her world. On the fateful day they met at the airport, Sophia was filled with excitement. She couldn't wait to see her best friend, Jane, who was coming to visit from abroad. Little did she know that her life was about to take a devastating turn. As she waited at the airport gate, she couldn't help but think of how lucky she was to have Adam and her best friend, Jane, in her life. But the arrival of Jane would set in motion a chain of events that would lead to the unraveling of secrets, lies, and betrayals that had been buried for far too long. Unbeknownst to Sophia, Adam had hired Inspector Dave, an older private investigator, to determine who the real father of the twins was. He was not entirely sure if he was their father, and the uncertainty gnawed at him. Inspector Dave was discreet, experienced, and determined to uncover the truth. As Sophia anxiously waited at the airport, little did she know that her seemingly perfect life was on the brink of collapse. The secrets, lies, and betrayals were about to come to light, leaving her in a state of shock she could never have imagined. The airport terminal buzzed with the anticipation of reunions and departures, while Sophia stood there with her heart full of hope and love, completely unaware of the storm about to descend upon her life. The airport crowd had grown restless, a sea of faces passing by, each with their own story, dreams, and destinations. Sophia's heart raced with anticipation as the flight from abroad was due to arrive. She clutched a bouquet of flowers tightly in her hand, her thoughts consumed by the joyful reunion she expected with Jane, her best friend. In the distance, a plane touched down and passengers began disembarking. Sophia's excitement was palpable. She couldn't wait to embrace her long-lost friend, someone she had shared countless memories and secrets with. Jane was like a sister to her, and the thought of reuniting brought tears to Sophia's eyes. As the passengers streamed through the gate, Sophia's gaze was fixed on the entrance, searching for the familiar face she had missed for years. Her heart swelled with emotions. But among the faces that emerged, one stood out, and it was not Jane's. It was Adam. Sophia's heart skipped a beat as she watched her husband approach, a forced smile on his face. Panic set in as the realization hit her that Jane was nowhere to be seen. Sophia felt a sinking sensation in her chest. This was not how it was supposed to happen. Where was Jane? Her best friend, her confidant. Her Adam was here, but where was Jane? Tears welled up in Sophia's eyes as she stammered, "Adam, where's Jane?" "She was supposed to be on this flight. Why are you here?" Adam's face was a canvas of guilt and hesitation. He cleared his throat and struggled to find the right words. "Sophia, we need to talk." With those words, Sophia's world began to unravel. She couldn't understand why Adam was here instead of Jane. Her thoughts raced, and her heart pounded in her chest. A foreboding feeling of dread crept over her, and she clutched the bouquet even tighter, as if it could shield her from the impending storm. "Talk about what, Adam? Where is Jane? Is she okay?" Sophia demanded, her voice quivering with anxiety. Adam glanced around nervously, realizing that there was no easy way out of this conversation. He took a deep breath and finally revealed the truth he had hidden for so long. "Sophia, Jane isn't coming. There's something I need to tell you, something I should have told you a long time ago." The weight of Adam's confession hung in the air like a heavy fog, suffocating Sophia's hope and trust. She felt her legs weaken, and she stumbled back a step, her eyes locked onto her husband's face, searching for answers that she was afraid to find. Before Adam could say more, Inspector Dave, the private investigator hired to uncover the truth about the twins' parentage, emerged from the crowd, casting an imposing figure. His presence only added to the tension in the air, and Sophia couldn't comprehend the situation unfolding before her eyes. "Sophia, we've kept secrets from you for far too long," Inspector Dave stated, his voice steady but brimming with gravity. As the words sank in, Sophia's heart raced faster, and her mind reeled from the shock of it all. Secrets, lies, betrayals, her life was unraveling. The world she thought she knew had crumbled, leaving her in a state of emotional turmoil. In the midst of the crowded airport terminal, Sophia was about to confront a reality that was stranger and more complex than any drama she had ever imagined. Choices she would make in the days to come would shape her destiny in ways she could not foresee. The love story she had believed in was about to take a dark and unexpected turn, and Sophia had no choice but to confront the deceit that had surrounded her for so long. Sophia's mind raced as she tried to process the startling revelations coming from her husband, Adam, and the presence of Inspector Dave. She felt a whirlwind of emotions, confusion, anger, betrayal, all threatening to overwhelm her. She took a step back and clutched the bouquet of flowers even tighter, as if they were the only anchor in the tempestuous sea of her emotions. Her voice trembled as she asked, "What are you talking about? What secrets? Tell me, Adam." Adam hesitated for a moment, his eyes cast downward. The guilt in his demeanor was palpable. "Sophia, it's about the twins. I don't know if I'm their biological father." The words hung in the air like a heavy fog, suffocating Sophia's every thought. She had to sit down before her trembling legs gave way completely. She found a nearby bench and sank into it, her eyes locked onto Adam, searching for any sign that this might be a cruel joke. "I don't understand," Sophia whispered, her voice filled with pain and disbelief. "How can you not know? They're our children. Inspector Dave stepped forward, his presence looming even larger as he explained, "Mr. Adam hired me to investigate a long-held suspicion. There are doubts about the twins' parentage, and we need to confirm the truth." Sophia's mind was a whirlwind of emotions. Doubts about the paternity of her beloved children. It was unimaginable. Who would doubt that? How is this possible? Adam took a deep breath and finally began to unravel the tangled web of deception. There was another woman, Sophia. A woman named Jane. She and I were in a relationship while we were together. I've always wondered if the twins are mine or if they're hers. Tears welled up in Sophia's eyes as she looked at her husband, feeling the weight of his betrayal crushing her heart. The love she had once believed was pure and unbreakable was now tainted by infidelity and deceit. Sophia wiped away her tears and asked. Inspector Dave replied, "We lost contact with her some time ago. That's why Mr. Adam hired me to find her and conduct DNA tests to determine the truth about the twins." Sophia's head was spinning. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her heart ached for her children, who were caught in this web of secrets and lies. "What are we going to do?" Sophia whispered, her voice quivering. Adam reached out, but Sophia flinched away from his touch. "Sophia, I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen." A mix of anger and sorrow coursed through Sophia as she looked at her husband. "You've lied to me for years, Adam. You've broken my trust, and now you're telling me that our children may not be yours?" Inspector Dave interjected. "We'll find Jane and conduct the DNA tests. Once we have the results, we'll know for sure. Until then, we all need to come to terms with the reality of the situation." The airport terminal was abuzz with life, but in that moment, Sophia's world had come to a standstill. The love story she had cherished for so long had transformed into a heart-wrenching drama, full of deceit, infidelity, and uncertainty. The revelation had set in motion a journey that would lead to a surprising and tumultuous resolution, one that would test the limits of love and forgiveness, and leave Sophia grappling with the life-altering choices she would have to make. Weeks passed, and Sophia's life was now a whirlwind of emotions and uncertainty. The truth about the twins' parentage had shaken her to the core, and she couldn't escape the nagging doubts that gnawed at her soul. She had distanced herself from Adam, unable to trust him in the same way ever again. Inspector Dave had taken charge of the search for Jane, the woman who held the key to unraveling the mystery. He had tirelessly scoured every lead, making phone calls, visiting her last known addresses, and reaching out to anyone who might have had a connection to her. It was a race against time, as the uncertainty hung over everyone like a dark cloud. In the midst of this turmoil, Sophia found solace in the twins, who remained blissfully unaware of the storm that raged around them. She had always been a devoted mother, and her love for them was unwavering. She had decided to shield them from the chaos and confusion, determined to provide them with as much stability as she could muster. One evening, as Sophia was helping her children with their homework, her phone rang. She rushed to answer it, her heart pounding in her chest. It was Inspector Dave. He had news. "Jane has been located," he said, his voice carrying a mix of relief and anticipation. Sophia's hands trembled as she clutched the phone. "Where is she? What can we do now?" The private investigator explained that Jane had been living abroad but had returned to their city. She was willing to meet with Sophia and Adam to discuss the situation and the impending DNA tests. A wave of emotions washed over Sophia. She was both relieved and terrified at the prospect of finally confronting the woman who had been a hidden presence in her life for so long. A meeting was arranged at a neutral location, a small cafe in the heart of the city. Sophia, Adam, and Inspector Dave arrived with heavy hearts and anxiety. The cafe seemed to be a world away from the turmoil that had engulfed their lives. The atmosphere was charged with tension. When Jane walked through the door, her face bore the marks of a turbulent journey. Sophia couldn't help but notice the pained expression in her eyes, a stark contrast to the confident and carefree friend she had known years ago. The meeting was fraught with tension as they discussed the impending DNA tests. Jane was cooperative, but her sorrow was evident as she acknowledged her past relationship with Adam. She had been in love with him once, and now she had to face the possibility that the twins might not be his. The DNA tests were scheduled, and the trio left the cafe, each carrying the weight of their own truth and regrets. The days leading up to the results were agonizing, and Sophia's life felt like a never-ending nightmare. As the fateful day approached, Sophia's mind was consumed by the question, who were the real parents of her beloved twins? The love story she had cherished had become a tangled web of lies, deceit, and heartbreak. The results of the DNA tests were poised to reveal the final chapter in a drama that had captivated and torn apart their lives. The day of the DNA test results had finally arrived. Sophia couldn't escape the palpable tension that had settled over her life. She had been living in a state of perpetual dread, a whirlpool of emotions threatening to engulf her. The love story that had defined her life now seemed like a distant dream. Sophia, Adam, and Jane sat in the waiting room of the hospital, each lost in their thoughts. Their futures hung in the balance, waiting for the revelation that would define their lives forever. Inspector Dave had been instrumental in orchestrating the tests, and he had been their constant support through this agonizing process. He watched over them with a knowing glance, aware of the storm of emotions that was about to break. The door to the room opened, and a doctor approached. Their hearts raced, and Sophia could hardly breathe. The doctor delivered the envelope containing the results, her face a mask of neutrality. "Here are the results," the doctor said, her voice steady. "I will leave you to open it in private." The room seemed to close in on them as the doctor left, and the tension was unbearable. Sophia reached for the envelope with trembling hands, her eyes darting between Adam and Jane. Her palms were slick with sweat as she carefully tore it open. Silence hung in the room, broken only by the rustling of the paper. Sophia's eyes scanned the contents, and her face turned pale as she read the words. Her hands shook uncontrollably, and she couldn't hold back the tears that welled up in her eyes. "It's impossible," Sophia whispered, her voice breaking. It can't be." Adam and Jane looked at the results, and their faces mirrored Sophia's disbelief. The DNA tests had revealed that Adam was not the biological father of the twins. Jane's gaze remained fixed on the paper, her heart heavy with the weight of the truth. Inspector Dave, ever the stoic presence, cleared his throat and said, "The results don't lie. We now know the truth." The reality of the situation hung heavy in the room. Sophia was left grappling with the knowledge that her beloved children were not biologically related to the man she had called their father for 9 years. The love story she had held dear had shattered into a million pieces. The silence was deafening, and no one knew what to say. Adam reached out to Sophia, his eyes filled with regret, but she pulled away. Her love had turned to bitterness, and she couldn't bear to look at the man who had deceived her. As the truth settled in, Sophia made a decision. She would always be a mother to the twins, her love for them unchanged, but the life she had known with Adam was over. The secrets, the betrayals, the years of deceit had taken their toll. The revelation had brought the drama of their lives to its climax, and now they were left to pick up the pieces. Inspector Dave, The man who had unveiled the truth observed the broken relationships before him, knowing that their lives had been forever altered. The love story had become a tale of heartbreak, secrets, and regret. The journey was far from over, and each of them faced an uncertain future filled with the consequences of their choices. The drama would continue to unfold, but they had reached a turning point from which there was no return. In the aftermath of the DNA test results, Sophia found herself at a crossroads, torn between her love for the twins and the shattered remains of her relationship with Adam. The revelation had left her emotionally scarred, and she needed time to come to terms with the new reality of her life. The twins, blissfully unaware of the turmoil that surrounded them, continued to be the light of Sophia's life. She had made a promise to herself to protect them from the painful truth about their parentage. In their innocent eyes, Adam was still their father, and Sophia was determined to keep it that way. Adam, on the other hand, was racked with guilt and regret. He had betrayed the woman he loved and had now lost her trust. The love story that had once been the cornerstone of his life had crumbled into ashes. He faced a choice, either to try and rebuild the shattered pieces or to accept the consequences of his actions. Jane, too, was struggling with the weight of her past choices. She had carried a secret for years, and the truth had finally come to light. She had lost the love of her life, Adam, and now faced the reality of her actions. The woman who had once been Sophia's best friend was now a living reminder of the betrayal that had torn their lives apart. Inspector Dave continued to be a presence in their lives, ensuring that the twins' best interests were protected. He had gone from being a bearer of secrets to a guardian of truth, and his role was far from over. In the weeks that followed, Sophia made the difficult decision to separate from Adam. The love story that had once been their life was no longer tenable, and she couldn't bear to be with a man who had deceived her for so long. Her heart ached for the years she had lost, but she knew she had to move forward. As for Adam, he was left to reflect on his actions and the consequences of his choices. He realized the gravity of his betrayal and the pain he had caused the woman he loved. He sought therapy and counseling in an attempt to understand his own motivations and find a path toward redemption. Jane, too, embarked on a journey of self-discovery. She had been complicit in a betrayal that had caused immeasurable pain, and she needed to come to terms with her own actions. She decided to distance herself from Sophia's life, understanding that their friendship could never be mended. The drama that had unfolded was a testament to the complexities of love, trust, and forgiveness. The choices each character had made had led to a chain of events that none of them could have foreseen. Their lives had been forever altered by the revelation, and they were now faced with the challenge of rebuilding, mending, and moving forward. Inspector Dave watched over them, knowing that the consequences of their actions were far from over. The love story had transformed into a heart-wrenching drama, and the choices that lay ahead would define the paths they would take. As the days turned into months, the characters in this intricate story were left to confront their own demons, heal their wounds, and find a way to live with the choices they had made. The drama was far from over, and the unpredictability of life ensured that their journeys were filled with twists and turns, leaving each of them to grapple with the consequences of their actions. Months had passed since the revelation of the twins' parentage, and the lives of Sophia, Adam, and Jane had irrevocably changed. The drama that had enveloped them continued to cast long shadows, and the consequences of their actions lingered like ghosts. Sophia had embarked on a new chapter of her life, one that revolved around her unwavering love for the twins. She had chosen to keep their true parentage a secret from them, determined to provide them with stability and love. Her decision to separate from Adam was painful, but it was a necessary step towards healing and self-discovery. As for Adam, he had embarked on a journey of self-improvement and introspection. Therapy had helped him understand the motivations behind his actions and the damage he had inflicted. He had committed himself to being the best father he could be to the twins, even though he was not their biological parent. The love he had for them was genuine, and he wanted to ensure their happiness. Jane, living with the guilt of her past choices, had chosen to distance herself from the lives of Sophia and Adam. She had decided to relocate to another city, hoping to start fresh and leave behind the painful memories of her betrayal. Her actions had cost her a friendship she had cherished, and she couldn't find a way to mend the broken trust. Inspector Dave, the figure who had uncovered the truth, remained a presence in their lives. He had witnessed the complexities of human relationships and had learned that secrets and betrayals could unravel even the most steadfast love stories. He continued to offer support to Sophia, Adam, and the twins, guiding them through the turbulent aftermath of the revelation. The twins, innocent of the tumultuous events that had unfolded, continued to thrive and bring joy to Sophia's life. Their laughter and curiosity were a balm to her wounded heart, and she cherished every moment with them. They had no idea about the tangled web of deceit that had defined their early years, and Sophia was determined to shield them from that pain. The drama that had enveloped their lives was a reminder that love could be both beautiful and destructive. The choices they had made had led to a twisted reckoning, one that had left them with scars that might never fully heal. The path ahead remained uncertain, as they each grappled with the consequences of their actions and the complex emotions that had defined their love story. The drama continued to unfold, with new twists and challenges on the horizon as they navigated a world forever changed by the secrets they had kept and the choices they had made. As time passed, Sophia, Adam, and Jane found themselves on divergent paths, but the specter of their intertwined past continued to haunt them. The love story that had once bound them together had fractured beyond repair, leaving a trail of broken trust and unhealed wounds. Sophia had focused on providing the twins with a stable and loving environment. She had grown resilient in the face of the tumultuous events and was determined to ensure their happiness. But the scar of betrayal still lingered, an indelible mark on her heart. She had forgiven Adam for the sake of their children, but could never forget the pain he had caused. Adam had worked diligently to mend his relationship with the twins, understanding that the love he felt for them transcended biology. While the bond was strong, the guilt he carried was unshakable. The love story that had been defined by his deception had forever changed, and he remained on the path to redemption, hoping to regain Sophia's trust. Jane had relocated to a new city, her past mistakes haunting her like a shadow. She sought a fresh start, determined to distance herself from the betrayal she had been a part of. The loss of her friendship with Sophia remained a heavy burden, and she knew it was something she could never fully mend. Inspector Dave, the observer of their lives, remained a steadfast presence. His role had evolved from being a bearer of secrets to a source of support and guidance. He had come to understand the complexities of the human heart, the capacity for betrayal, and the enduring strength of love. One day, Sophia received a letter, handwritten and filled with heartfelt apologies. It was from Jane, expressing her remorse for the pain she had caused and the consequences of her actions. Jane had hoped for forgiveness, but understood that it might be a bridge too far. Sophia read the letter with a mixture of emotions, her heart torn between anger and a flicker of understanding. The drama that had once defined their lives was now an intricate tapestry of forgiveness and unresolved pain. She agreed to meet with Jane, hesitant but willing to confront the past. The coffee shop they chose was filled with a palpable tension as they sat down to talk. Their conversation was raw and honest, filled with the pain of betrayal and the lingering remnants of friendship. As Jane apologized for her role in the deception, Sophia couldn't help but feel a sliver of compassion. The love story that had once connected them was gone, but the possibility of a fragile reconciliation loomed in the distance. The drama that had defined their lives continued to cast its long shadow, but the choices they made in the face of betrayal and loss could still determine their future. Forgiveness, like love, could be both beautiful and painful, and the characters in this intricate story grappled with the complex emotions that had forever altered the trajectory of their lives. The meeting between Sophia and Jane was a turning point, marked by raw emotions and a complex mixture of pain and understanding. As they parted ways, Sophia couldn't deny the sense of closure that had begun to settle over her life. She couldn't forget, but she was willing to forgive, even if only for her own sake. In the weeks that followed, the twins continued to be the center of Sophia's world. Their innocence and boundless love were a soothing balm to the wounds she carried. She had resolved to focus on their happiness and to shield them from the complexities of the adult world. Adam had been working tirelessly to regain Sophia's trust, and she could see his earnest efforts. Their love had been transformed, but not extinguished, and they were slowly rebuilding their lives together. The love story that had been shattered had a chance at redemption. Inspector Dave, who had observed the complexities of their lives from the shadows, was about to reveal the most shocking plot twist of all. He had one more piece of information that he had kept hidden, a truth that would change everything. One evening, he approached Sophia, his face etched with gravity. "There's something I've discovered, something I didn't share with you before. It's about the DNA tests." Sophia's heart raced as she looked at him, unsure of what to expect. "What is it, Inspector?" He took a deep breath and revealed, "The DNA tests showed that you, Sophia, are not the biological mother of the twins." The shock of the revelation left Sophia reeling. Her mind raced as she tried to comprehend what she had just heard. It was impossible. She had given birth to the twins, had nurtured and loved them from the moment they were born. Inspector Dave continued, "I've rechecked the tests, and the results are accurate. I'm as surprised as you are, but the truth is that the twins are not biologically related to you." Sophia's world had been shattered once again. She was left grappling with the unthinkable. If she wasn't the biological mother of the twins, then who was? The love story that had once defined her life had become a labyrinth of secrets and lies, and the final revelation left her with more questions than answers. The shocking plot twist had thrown their lives into a new state of chaos, and the characters in this intricate story were left to navigate the unexpected and bewildering truth. The drama that had captured their lives was far from over, and the choices they would make in the face of this revelation would define the paths they would take in a future marked by uncertainty and complexity.